Hello everyone, this video is going to be for chapter 3 lesson 5, which is about slopes of lines. So this lesson you're going to learn what are the different kinds of slopes a line will have and what is the slope formula. All these things you will be learning in this lesson. So to get started, first of all let me show you what does a slope mean. Now all of us draw lines. Whenever anyone say draw a line, we draw lines, right? We could draw it like that, we could draw it like this, we could even draw straight lines. Now did you ever know that every line has a slope? Every line has a slope except for the horizontal and vertical lines. Other than that, any other line you draw has its own equation and it has its own slope. So you can see here I have shown you three different lines. So each of this line has different slopes. So what is a slope? Now in easy words, if I would explain you what is a slope, it's like a mountain, right? Now you come down a mountain, that's called as the slope. So the similar idea applies here. So from where the line starts till where it ends, that's how, in the direction in which it's flowing is called the slope. You can see this line A has a different slope than line B because line B is a steeper line. Steeper means the more narrow the line. So if you are on top of a mountain and you want to ski, um, which mountain would you choose? The one which is steeper or the one which is a bit flatter? Which one is going to be easier to ski on? Of course, the one which is flatter because it has a lesser slope compared to the steeper one, right? Now keeping this in mind, let me show you how to find the slopes of lines. Now there are two ways you could use. Always either a formula or we use another thing called the rise over run. So you can find slopes by using the formula or another kind of formula which we call as rise over run. Now what is this rise over run? It is nothing but from one point to the other in a line, how many units do you rise, that means you go up, and how many you run, that's you go to the right or to the left. It totally depends on the question whether we go to the right or to the left. Using the same example, let me show you how to use rise over run. So here we can take 2 points, 2 coordinates. Let's see. Now what does these mean? It means that you where these two lines meet. So if you would draw this straight here, that would be like that. And if you would extend this line here. So from where to where are you going to use this rise or overrun? It's from here, the point where these two lines meet, to the points, to the coordinates. So it's going to be like that. From this point, how many units do you go up? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're rising 6 and then you're running to the right to 1, 2, 3, 4. So the run is 4, which means the slope of this line is going to be 6 over 4, which you could still further simplify with a 2 and say that is 2 over 3 is the slope of this line. It's not necessary that you only take this way, you can even take it this way. So it's going to be the same. See here, from this point to the point where the two lines meet. So this is a run because you're going to the right. How much is the run? 1, 2, 3, 4 is the run. And how much is the rise, which is going up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6, which means again it is 6 over 4, which is going to be 3 over 2. This is one way of finding the slope. Another way of finding the slope is by using the slope formula, which is m. Now m is the slope. Slope is represented by the letter m. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is the slope formula. You can use either one. You can use this rise over run or you can use the slope formula to find the slopes of lines. So let's get started and then let's see what are the ways we could use properly. Now before we go on, these are the 4 different classifications of line by slope. You can see this is called a positive slope. So it starts from the right hand upside here. So it starts from right up and it moves to the downward direction, which is called a positive slope, which means for a line which is in this direction, the slope will be always a positive number. Whereas this one here, this starts from the left up here and it comes down to the right. So whenever a line is in this direction, this is called as a negative slope, which means your answer for this slope should be a negative number. A horizontal line always has a zero slope. That's because the coordinates are going to be same, and there is no slope for this line. Where is the steepness for this line? There is nothing like in the shape of something which comes down or goes up. There is nothing like that. So we call this horizontal line as a zero slope, and for a vertical line we cannot find the slope because it's not possible. This line is only for a particular number which will be here. For example, if this was a 2, the equation for this line is going to be x is equal to negative 2. So we cannot identify the slopes for vertical lines. For vertical lines, there are no slopes. We cannot identify, but for horizontal lines, it is a zero slope. Right, so to get started, they have asked us to use the slope formula to determine the slope of each line. Though you have to use the slope formula, I will also show you how to use rise over run. But the first one is a horizontal line. Now, just now I did explain horizontal lines have zero slopes. Why do we say they have zero slopes? See this. Take the coordinates of these 2 points. Now, the coordinate of this is negative 1 and negative 4. And the coordinate for this is 2 and negative 4. You can see that these two are same. Let's use the slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So which is y2 and which is y1? This is x1 and this is y1, this is x2 and this is y2. So y2 is negative 4 minus negative 4 again. Now this is from the formula and this negative is from the number, divided by x2, that is 2 minus negative 1, because minus from the equation and this minus from the number. So minus minus would give you a plus. That means negative 4 plus 4 would give you a 0. And then 2 plus 1 would give you a 3. Now any number 0 divided by any number will be 0. So that's why we say the slopes of horizontal lines is always a 0. Not that you have to do all these steps. Whenever you see a horizontal line, you can say the slope is 0. Right, let's use this. Let's go to the next question, that is here D and C. So first let's write down the coordinates for C. The coordinates for C are 5 and negative 2. And the coordinates for D are negative 1 and 4. So use the slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you can name it however you want. You can name this as x1, y1 or this as x1, y1. Totally up to you. The order doesn't matter. But then you have to name them the same. So the slope of this is going to be minus 2. That's negative 2 minus 4 divided by x2 is 5 minus negative 1. Now this negative is from the equation, from the formula, and this negative is from the number. Negative negative would give you a positive 1. So negative 2, negative 4 would give you a negative 6. And 5 plus 1 would give you a 6, which means the slope for this equation, the slope for this line is going to be a negative 1. Alright, now how can you use rise over run to find out the slopes of these lines? Just draw a horizontal line, vertical line like that from there, and a horizontal line from here. So from the point where they meet, count how much is the rise. So the rise is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units for the rise. And for the run, how much it is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So if it is 6, that's going to be rise over run, which means rise was 4 and the run was 6. Now if you would simplify this, you would get a 2 over 3. Now hold on, is your answer for rise over run and the one which you used for the formula the same? You can see that there is a difference in both the numbers, right? Which means any one of them is incorrect. Now I did this purposely because I want you to see that you can use both the formulas and get the correct answer. So we need to check back on our working to find out which is wrong, whether this is wrong or this is wrong. So let's do a quick check. Did you write the coordinates properly? So that's the first thing you need to check. Did you write the coordinates properly? Is this the coordinate -1 and 4, or is it -1 and 2? So it is -1 and 2. See, this is how you can use both the both the concepts to find out where it is wrong. So you could make mistakes here, or you could make mistakes here. Now this one, we know that it's 4/6, which is going to be 2/3, so there is nothing wrong here. So that means here there is something wrong. Now we found out that the coordinate written was wrong, so which means we have to redo all that again. So y1 was wrong, which was a 2, right? Here, this one. So let me erase this part. This is going to be a 2. So let me just erase all this so that we will not get confused and do it again. Okay, so here y2 was -2 and y1 was 2, so -2 over x2 was 5 and x1 was -1, which means -2 -2 would give you a -4, and this would give you a 6. Now if you further simplify this, you would get 2/3 with a negative sign, right? Because it's a negative slope, so your answer should be a -2/3. Now if you would see here, it is a rise over run. Now why did we not get this as a -1? You need to realize that the slope is a -1, so it has to be negative. Or you could even say you are running to the left from here. So even if you run from this point to the left, that means it's going to give you a negative answer. So the answer you're going to get is going to be a negative slope, right? Now let's go to the next one and do the same way again 2 times and check whether the answer we are getting is correct or not. So first let's write down the coordinates. So this is going to be a 5 and 4, 5, 6, 5 and 6. And for this, it's going to be 2 and 0. Let's use the formula first, which is y1 minus y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then let's use the rise over run to check our answer. It's going to be x1 y1 and x2 y2. So y2 is 0 minus 6 over x2 is 2 minus 5. So 0 minus 6 is going to be a -6, and 2 minus 5 is going to give you a -3. You can cancel both the negatives, so your answer is going to be a 2. So this line has a slope of 2, but don't confirm it until you check it again. What you're going to do is draw a straight line from here and a straight line from here, and then the points where they meet, you need to count the rise over run. So let's count and see how much is the rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rise is 6 and the run is how much? 1, 2, 3. So it's a 3. So 6 divided by 3 would give you a 2. So which means the answer we got for this question is correct. There is a slope of 2. Is this a positive or a negative slope? Of course it's going to be a positive slope because it's the direction says from the right top to the left top. Now for this particular line, already I explained, for a vertical line there is no slope. You cannot identify the slope. So in the previous picture, what did we say? We say that it is an undefined slope. Same thing you will write here, or you can say the slope cannot be defined, or we say it is an undefined slope. Clear? Now this is how you need to check both the ways whether the answer you got for slope is correct or not. Let's move on to the next question. Now they said graph each pair of lines. So you're going to graph the lines. Use slopes to determine whether the lines are parallel perpendicular or neither. Now how do we know once we draw and find the slopes whether they are parallel, perpendicular or neither? For parallel lines, both the slopes will be same. For parallel lines, the slopes will be equal. And how about perpendicular lines? For perpendicular lines, when you multiply the slopes, you have to multiply slope multiplied by the slope, it would give you a -1. If the product of both the slopes is -1, that means it's a perpendicular line. Now, if it is neither equal and if we don't get it multiplied equal to -1, that means it is not perpendicular or not parallel. And so let's first graph this. They said graph ij and k here. So what are the coordinates? I is 1, 0. So 1, 0 is here. This is I, and j is 5, 3. So where is 5, 3? 5 and 3 here. So draw the line. Let me draw it with red so that you will see the difference between both the lines. Use rulers always. If you don't use rulers to draw lines, your lines will not be straight, one thing, and then you will get different slopes. So this is the first line, which is the line for this. This is line ij. So I and j. Then the next one is KL. K is 6 and -1. 4, 5, 6 and -1. That's here. And L is 0, 2. So 0, 2. That's here. Join both the lines. Let me draw this line with another color so that you will know the difference. Now, by the look of it, we cannot decide whether it is perpendicular. Of course, it's not parallel because parallel lines will not be like that. We need to decide between perpendicular or neither. So let's find the slopes of each of these lines. Now, definitely you could use rise over run and find out the slopes, else we can use the slope formula. So let's find the slope of ij first. Ij. So the coordinates given for ij are these x1, y1, x2, and y2. So y2 is 3 minus 0 over 5 minus 1, which is 3 over 4. We cannot simplify, it's like that. Now let's find the slope of KL. Slope of KL is going to be same again. This is x1, y1 and x2, y2, which is 2 minus 1 divided by 0 minus 6. So minus minus would give you a plus. So that's 3. 2 plus 1 is 3 and 0 minus 6 is going to be -6. Now you can see that these two slopes are completely different, right? Even they are not perpendicular because if you would multiply, let's multiply and check. Would that give you a -1? 3 3s are 9, 4 9s, 4 multiply -6 is -24, which is not a -1, so they are not perpendicular either. So that means they are not perpendicular, neither they are parallel. So we say that they are neither, not parallel, not perpendicular. Alright, let's do this question and check. P, Q, and R is, so the coordinates of P are 5, 1, 3, 4, 5. This is 5, 1 here. This is a P, and Q is -1 and -1. That's here. So this is Q. Let's first join these two line points and draw the line. So this is line PQ. And then for RS, it's 2, 1. 2, 1. This is R. And S is 3, -2. So that's here. If you would follow the coordinates properly, you will get the perfect lines. Let's draw the lines now. So that's RS. Now, by the look of it, of course, you cannot say whether it's perpendicular or parallel or any, not parallel, of course, because these are not parallel lines. But then you need to decide, are they really perpendicular? Because even this was looking perpendicular, but then we found out that was not perpendicular also. So let's try for this thing. So first find the slope of PQ. So PQ is here, x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 negative 1 minus 1 over x2 is negative 1 minus 5. That would give you a negative 2 over negative 6. You could cancel both and say simplify this, so that would mean it's a 1 over 3. Simplify means you will divide both sides with a 2. Up and down with 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now let's find the slope for RS. Slope for RS. Okay, this I forgot to write here PQ. That's going to be, again, name them x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is minus 2, negative 2, minus 1 over 3 minus 2. This would mean negative 2, negative 1 is a negative 3, and 3 minus 2 is a 1. Now let's multiply them and check whether the answer we are going to get is a negative 1. If it's a negative 1, then it's perpendicular. Let's see. 1 over 3 multiplied by negative 3 over 1. How much is that? 1 multiplied by negative 3 is a negative 3, and 3 ones are 3. Yes, it is a negative 1 because negative 3 divided by 3 is a negative 1, so which means these lines are perpendicular. Right? So this is how you find whether lines are perpendicular, parallel, or neither. Here we got neither because when we multiplied, we did not get a negative 1. We got 9 over negative 24. But these two slopes, when we multiplied, we got the answer as a negative 1, which means the lines are perpendicular. Hopefully that's clear. It's easy but needs a bit of practice. Right, now this is a problem solving which many students ignore because they don't want to read and they don't want to make their brain think critically. So, but it's always better you attempt problem solving. That will train your brain how to think deeply. Right, let's see here. At a ski resort, the different ski runs down the mountain are colored according to difficulty. Green is easy. So let me first highlight them so you will feel the colors are a bit easier for you. So the green is for easy. Okay, then blue is for medium, and black is for hard. So this is black. Then assume that the ski runs below are rated according to their slopes. Steeper is harder. Now what is steeper? These kinds of lines are called as steeper lines, the one which has a more very narrow depth. These lines are called as the ones which are less steep. So if I would draw a mountain out of this, it would be like that. So which mountain is steeper? Is it mountain A or mountain B? Mountain B is steeper because the line is having a greater slope. Keeping this idea, what they asked us is, there is one green, one blue, one black. Assign a color to each ski run. So they have given emerald, the slope, diamond, the slope, and ruby, the slope. So these are three different mountains, right? Okay, let's now give the color to each. Now why I got this coordinate plane? So that you will understand what you need to do. That's why I took this coordinate plane in a picturestic way. It will be easy for us to understand. Now they have only given us the slope here. They did not give us coordinates. So when they did not give us the coordinates, we of course use rise over run. So this is going to be the rise and this is going to be the run. You can choose any point. Let's use this point here, the origin. From here, we will draw the slope for emerald. So rise 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then run is 7. So you move 7 units. If this was a mountain, according to the question, your mountain would be like this. Let me use red. This is how your mountain is going to be. Okay, this is for emerald. So let me name this as EM. Let's draw for diamond. Now from the same point you will draw for diamond. So for diamond it's rise is 5 and run is 4. So 5 you go up, that's the rise, and 4 you go here. So this is the point from here to here. If I would draw that, the line would be this way. Let me arrange this accordingly. Okay, So this is going to be for diamond. So let me write a D here, diamond. Okay, now let's draw for ruby, which is 5 over 8. So the rise is 4 and the run is 8. From the same point, you go 5 up and then you go 8 to the right. Now I don't have 8 here, but roughly it would be somewhere here. If I would draw the mountain, that mountain would look like this. So this is going to be the ruby mountain. This is ruby. If I were to complete this mountains, yes, it would look like that, like this. Okay, now we have to give a color to each depending on the steeper one, depending on the steeper. So green is easy. Which one do you think is easy here? Easy, the one with a steeper slope, less steep slope. So that I think is emerald, right? So emerald we could say is easy because it has a very less slope. So which is the color for easy? It's green. So emerald is going to be for green. Then diamond, which is the less, a bit more steeper than emerald. This one, ruby. So it is a medium one. So we would say ruby is medium. So we get the blue is medium color. We get the blue to ruby. Which is the very steep mountain? The diamond one, which is hard. So we get the color black to diamond. This is how you draw the lines according to the slopes given and then find out which are the steeper lines. Hopefully that's clear. Now, as I said, problem solvings are interesting if you put them in picture form rather than if you keep on reading. So hopefully you have understood the lesson. Comment and let me know whether the answer you got are correct or not. Till we meet again, keep practicing.